Hey sisters, so I am very excited for today because I am going to be sharing with you something that I have been doing for the last few years to really help me achieve and get the things that I really want in my life. This is something that I have been also giving to my clients over the last couple of years, and I know that it works. So we're going to go into it. Today we are going to be learning about the post-it note vision board. This is where all of your ideas and everything that you want to gravitate into your life is written down on a post-it note, and we are brain dumping. Similar to, I guess you would say, a vision board that a lot of people do where there's photos and stuff like that. This is a little bit different. It is a post-it note vision board. Now, the post-it note vision board is something that, you would do at the beginning of the year or the end of the year. However, you can honestly start this at any time in the year. And that's what I love about it, because a lot of the time we set our goals around New Year's resolutions. But you know what, why not start today? Why not start, in July? If you haven't done anything, you can always start. So the post-it note vision board is like a brain dump of all the specific things that I want to vision in my life for the months ahead. Now, to do the post-it note vision board, you will need 2 different colored post-it notes. So I like to choose bright because bright's good. So I've got one, which I'm going to explain about, and another one. I like to have a black pen, like a black Nico or something like that, something where my writing is nice and bold. You'll also need to get yourself like a nice A3 piece of paper, something that's a bit bigger. I also have like a cork board where I actually pin my post-it notes. But I've just got to demonstrate today like an A3 piece of paper. You'll also need a jar, and I'll explain why. So for me, I have always been a goal-orientated person. For those who don't know, I have been a women's health coach for the past 14 years. So I've done a lot of study in fitness, mindset. I come from a business background, so I've done a lot of professional and personal development, a lot of leadership. So goals is something that I have always been big on. And I found myself probably about 4 years ago where I was writing down my goals and stuff at, New Year's resolution, but it was kind of like they were just, drifting away. Yes, I knew that what I wanted, but I didn't have them there for me in front of my face to action. I'm a very visual person. So, there's vision boards, which are great. However, what I find with vision boards is that you are taking photos from like magazines or Pinterest and things like that, or someone else's life, and you're putting them to make like a pretty picture. So yes, they're aesthetically pleasing. However, I find for me that they're not personal enough, and they're not enough for me to action and be in the forefront of my mind. So that's why I love this post-it note. So with your yellow, or with one of your post-it note colors, I want you to think about all the things that you want in your life that are very specific. For example, maybe you would like a new car. That was one of mine. Maybe you would like to try a singing lesson. Maybe you would like to start surfing. Maybe you want to go on a surf trip. Maybe you want to go to Morocco. What are some of the things that you would just love to have in your life? Or you can vision yourself there, or trying very specific goals. When I talk about this, if you say to me, okay, one of my goals is I want to get better at running. For me, that's not a specific goal. Yes, it's a great goal to have. However, to be specific, I would be saying what that kilometer would be. So if you want to get better at running, and right now you are currently running 1 kilometer, give yourself a goal. So I want to run 5 kilometers. you would write 5 kilometers. I want to run 5 kilometers down. That is something specific, something measurable. Yes, getting better at running, you know, that is measurable because you can feel better, you can go a longer distance, but give yourself an actual specific thing that you can work towards or that you can tick off. For example, same thing like I want a new car. Maybe you could say, I want like the car that you would like in your life. And then the cool thing about this, achieve the goal, you take it off and you put it in a jar. So you put it in a jar. And when you're having time throughout the year where maybe you just want to reflect on all the things that you've achieved for the year, maybe you're having a moment where you're feeling like you're stuck or you're not getting to where you want to be, or I don't know, like just those moments that do come. It's like going back and opening up and going, holy shit, like, wow, I've achieved that. Because I find for me, being someone who is very goal specific, that sometimes I achieve a goal and then I don't sit in it for long enough. And it's like, okay, what's next? Whereas what I like about this and what I've been trying to get better at in the last few years is actually just sitting in what I have achieved. Because being a high achiever, I feel like you're just constantly moving the thread higher and higher, and then you get to a point you're like, you don't even acknowledge what you have achieved. So that's why I like that. I want to talk about the other color though. So this one is actually probably the most important color out of the vision board post-it note. I have three things. So this color is my monthly focus. And there's 3 things that I write down as my focus and my priority for the month. So the yellow, right, are all the brain dumps, all the things that I want in my life, my career, my relationships, my travel, my health, all those things, right? So yellow is like all those goals or things that you would like in your life. Pink is your monthly focus. So the first one, and you actually write this down. So the first one I write down, so we're about to go into February, so I'm going to write the month February here. So if I'm looking back at the end of the year, which I do at the end of December, I actually go through and I look at my jar and I'm like, wow, that was my focus. Like, again, just reflecting back on those things, and it helps me plan ahead for the next year. So February, write that, the month at the top, and then you're going to write physical focus. So my physical focus is things that I want for the month that I want to work on. So for example, right now I do a whole heap of different fitness, but I want something each month that I'm going to focus on. Last month, so January, that is just about to finish, mine was running. I really wanted to get back into running. So my physical focus was running minimum 1 time a week. So I wrote down a specific goal. Running was once minimum a week. My physical focus for February, I actually want to work on my flexibility. So for me, I'm going to be incorporating more yoga. So I'm saying to myself that I want to be stretching at least 3 times a week, and I'm making that my priority and my focus for the month. So the next one that I love to do, so again, you write the month, is my mental focus. So my mental focus is anything that I want to focus on that I know is going to help my mental health, or it's going to help me grow. So anything that is going to just help my mind, basically. For me, January, my mental focus was completing my surf coach course because I had been really wanting to do it. So I made my mental focus putting time aside to get that course complete. My February mental focus is actually going to be decluttering. And I want to talk about this because I'm not going to be decluttering like my house. I'm actually going to be decluttering from my phone. So we use our phone these days like it's our life. It's got everything on there. I've literally got like 20,000 photos on my phone at the moment. I've got heaps of messages. I have got heaps of emails that I need to unsubscribe from. I'd also like to even, clean up my social accounts, like things like that. So for me, that is a declutter. I'm actually going to declutter from my phone this month. So what that looks like for me is instead of spending an hour scrolling, I'm actually going to be setting time aside each day. 15 minutes is something I have given myself to declutter my phone. That is a really specific goal, and it's something that I know that will just help, because it's like, I find even having so many photos on my phone from all the retreats and everything like that, it's like I've become a hoarder on my phone, and it actually can become quite overwhelming. So I need to really organize those files and just declutter. So that's something that I'm going to be doing for February. So the next one, the third one, is going to be spiritual focus. Now, I want you to think of spiritual focus as something that is going to help ground you, help you to step into your authentic self, into your self-love, your self-care, anything that is just going to help connect you more with your inner self better. So for me, my spiritual focus for February, I'm actually going to be doing a meditation, breath work, and a spiritual practice once a week. I've set that aside now for Monday nights, and that for me, because when I do that, it just helps to really ground me. So that is my spiritual focus, because I know that by doing that, it's like it's clearing this stagnant energy that's sitting in my body. And I also, being a coach, I'm always doing that for other people. So I'm actually taking myself to someone else who can help do that for me. So that's my spiritual focus. Okay, so as you can see, you have got your pink and your yellow. So your pink is your, focus for the month. And then your yellow is just, again, like I said, all the things that you want to achieve in your life. I'll just kind of give you some of mine that I have done in the last few years. So many have come true, like so many. But for example, when I really wanted to be a part of Women's Health magazine, Sammy and I had been, trying to get brand deals with the Active Sisters. We'd been doing all this stuff, and I would always get the Women's Health magazines. And I'm a big fan of Steph Claire Smith. Like, I just love her, and I've just loved watching her career. I have very big envy over everything that she's achieved. And there was a front cover where she was on it, and I was like, oh man, like one day I want that to be us, Sammy and I. So I put that on my post-it note. We didn't get the front cover, but we did get in Women's Health magazine twice that year, and it just came out from me reaching out to them, telling them about us, and and then having a conversation. And the first one was literally like a tiny little thing about the Active Sisters, and then because they loved us, because we had really put ourselves out there, started talking to different people, the next thing we were offered was like a big 2-page spread. So that's that's friggin' pretty damn cool, you know. It definitely was so epic, and I took that off and I put it in the jar and wrote about it. The other thing that I do is I write down the things that I've achieved that weren't even on like my vision or weren't even a part of my plan for that year. And you know, I write that down and I put it in the jar, because I think sometimes, again, like we set ourselves all these goals, and then where do we reflect back on the other things that we've achieved that were outside of those goals, you know? So yeah, this is just something that I have been doing for the last few years, and I absolutely love it. It goes up in my office. And again, like I said, I actually have a cork board where I pin my post-it notes, because I don't know, something about pinning a post-it note just feels so much more satisfying for me. And then, you know, taking it off and putting it in the jar. I have had questions about like, well, what happens if like you know, have things that you don't achieve, or you know, for example, my running goal, say I didn't achieve that. Well, it's really looking back at that and going, okay, well, did I really want that? So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going, okay, I didn't achieve that, and leaving January chilling there. Maybe it comes in March, maybe it comes in April, or maybe it just wasn't what I really wanted. Because I feel like if you really want something, and this is where you've got to get to your whys, why do you want to achieve this? Then I feel like that makes you take action to make it happen. So yeah, if you want to start your post-it note vision board, I would love to hear about it. If you have any questions, please comment below, please ask me. If you've been doing this before, let us know, help give some guidance to others that may be watching this or listening to this. But again, like, how cool to take off everything that you achieve, and then at the end of the year, or whenever you want, look back on your achievements. And that is really cool, and sit in that and be really proud of yourself. You know, maybe write about it, maybe talk about it, but just sit with it for a minute, because it's really important to acknowledge, you know, when you are growing, the different chapters of your life, to acknowledge that. I also think by doing that, it helps you to make clearer decisions about where you want to go to next. Anyway, my name is Angie, which I'm pretty sure you all know. And if you enjoyed that, make sure, yeah, I'd love to hear from you, and see you soon.